Hello, it's Liz here. Let's get started. I have a new card for you today. I'll be using this stamp set, Soft Seedlings. All right, let me give you a quick look at the card I'll be creating and then we'll get started creating it. This is our card today. And here we go. All right, so these are my pieces I'll be using. This is Cherry Cobbler and it is 8.5 by 11, cut in half and scored. 8.5 by 11, cut in half. So that's Cherry Cobbler. And then I have a piece here of Flirty Flamingo. Let me get you my pieces here. This is Flirty Flamingo. Not a color you necessarily think of for fall, but I really like the combination of that. So Flirty Flamingo is 4 by 5.25, and then I just have a piece of basic white cardstock that is also 4 by 5.25. Okay. This is a piece of Cherry Cobbler. This is 3 3/4 by 5. And this paper is taken from, hang on, let's see, is taken from a Christmas pack called Lights Aglow. It's 6 by 6. It is a lot of Christmassy things, like I said. Let's see. But just remember, just because something's a Christmas paper doesn't mean you can't use it for other things. Okay, because you have some of the sides there are solid colors, more, I shouldn't say solid colors, but not a whole lot of print to them. And they can be used for something other than Christmas. Sorry, I got a tickle in my throat. Okay, so this piece is taken from that. It's Cherry Cobbler, and it's 3 3/4 by 5. And then I have this white piece here. This is shimmery white paper. I'm not sure if you can see that real well on the camera, but that's shimmery white, and that is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then I just have one other piece of white cardstock that is just a random size. This size, you'll see what I mean in a minute. This size is just, will depend totally on what words you're going to add to your card. So it's not necessarily giving you the size isn't going to matter depending on what words you're adding. Okay? So let me put that stuff aside. The ink colors that I'll be using, I'm using ink refills. So I'm using Flirty Flamingo refill, Cherry Cobbler refill, Garden Green refill, and then Crushed Curry refill. Okay, so those are all the refills. I am using Early Espresso ink pad. And then for some embellishments, because it's nice to add a little something to your card, this is Rustic Metallic Adhesive Backed Dots. And these are in the annual catalog. All right, let's get started. What I'm going to do is I just grabbed a cutting board. You can use a cutting board, you can use a plastic plate, something you can wash or you can throw away. You don't necessarily want to use a paper plate for what I'm going to show you, but something plastic or something that's non-porous and can either be washed or thrown away. So I'm just grabbed a cutting board. And I'm going to set that here. I'm grabbing some baby wipes. Thank you to my daughter for supplying some baby wipes at my house when my granddaughter comes over, because I can also use them for stamping. Ha! So, all right. So I'm going to take some baby wipes. I have 2 baby wipes here, and I'm going to make an ink pad. Well, let's see. Let's put them this way. So they're going the same. All right. There we go. And I'm just going to fold it in half. Basically, you want the ink pad to be as big as the stamp you're using. And this is my stamp that I'll be using. So I just want it to be able to fit on there. If you're going to use a little stamp, maybe you can just use 1 baby wipe and fold that. Okay? So I'm going to lay that down on here. And then I'm going to start adding my ink colors. And I just need it to be, it doesn't have to cover the entire baby wipe area. I need it to be about the size of what the stamp would be. Okay. So I'm just adding some random dots and colors. Okay, that's the Garden Green. Then I'm going to add Cherry Cobbler. And you don't want the colors to necessarily run into each other, but you don't want a lot of white space either. You want it to be covered like an ink pad would be covered. Okay. Now I'm going to come in with my Flirty Flamingo. Have you done this before? It's been a while since I've done it, but it is really cool. And I will say it works really well with leaves in the fall because it gets that mottled look that you see on leaves in real life. And this is the crushed curry, and I'm going to fill in any blank white spaces with the crushed curry. If you have a tiny little bit of white space, it's not a huge deal, but you don't want a lot of white space. Kind of like if you're stamping in a regular ink pad, it wouldn't really work well if you have areas that don't have any ink. Okay, so there we go. And you'll see there's a couple little white spots. Not a huge deal, but not a lot. All right, so I'm going to pull out my shimmery white piece of paper. That's the 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to stamp on here and then stamp or ink this up and then stamp it on the paper. But before you go back in it again, every time you put it down, it's going to be slightly different where the colors are. So you just want to make sure you clean your stamp in between each time. So I'm just going to spray my Stampin' Scrub over here. I have that off the camera, but just spritzing that Stampin' Scrub so I can clean that in between. Okay, and I'm going to put this paper underneath so I can keep my surface clean. All right, so we're going to take that and put that in just like you would an ink pad. And there we go. And then I'm going to clean it before I go back in again. So that you're not mixing up your colors. There we go. Okay. We're going to go all the way around. And I've said before, there's water based in it because you have a wet wipe and it's a little bit wet. So you can use regular basic white paper, but it does help to use either watercolor paper or shimmery white or the thick white cardstock. Okay, let's add one more in here. And you could reuse this. I mean, you could, this pad that I made with the wet wipes, you could probably make 10 cards if you did assembly line, you're doing a whole bunch at one time. You definitely could just keep reusing it until it dries out. All right, and there we go. That's the look. All right, so I'm going to set that aside, put this aside too. And then I'm going to go ahead and assemble this card here. Let's get this out of here now. All right. So this piece here just goes in the inside because this is a really dark paper. It makes it hard to write in the inside. So this is just a simple adding to the center so you have something to write on. Okay. And let's get our Flirty Flamingo. I'm going to add this piece here. Remember with the Stampin' Seal, if that is a struggle for you because it's new from the old snail that we used to have, you're pulling back and then snapping. Pulling back and snapping. You have to break off the glue that's on there. So break back and snap it off. And I've missed one part. Let's see if I can do that. All right, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Let's leave it and I'll show you the sample in a second though. We're going to leave it. I already have adhesive on the back, so it's a little tricky to put that down. All right, let me grab some dimensionals because you know I love them. We're going to pop something up here. And we'll pull off these backs. This morning I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. It's raining again. It's raining again. And you know what? You think of when you think things are crummy for yourself, think of other areas. And all of a sudden I was like, you know what? I guess I'm thankful. I know, I'm not guess. I am. I'm thankful that we're having a lot of just rain and not what some of our other friends in other parts of the countries have experienced in the last week. So it's rain. It's rain. We'll deal with it. It's all good. And the sun will be coming again. All right. So I'm going to take this piece here. And this is where I'm going to be stamping the Thinking of You. And this is from that same set, Soft Seedlings. It's a lot of S's. Okay, stamped that. And then I'm going to pull in my paper trimmer. Guys, I'm working on like 3 different projects here, so my table's pretty full at the moment. I'm going to pull in my paper trimmer, and I want to snip it as close to the words as I can, and you're going to take like the biggest word you have. So I'm thinking of you. I want to get it pretty close. I'm going to turn this, and I want to get it pretty close to the K as the tallest one, realizing that it's possible that I didn't even stamp the word straight, and that's okay. All right, so I got it as close as possible. Now I'm just going to pull in a pair of paper snips, and we're going to snip off here. Snip. I'm going to snip the U. I'm going to snip the U. And if you want to just leave it all together, that's fine too. Okay, so thinking is like that. I'm going to snip off my of, so it's a little bit closer. And the U, snip that so it's a little bit closer. Okay. Get all these little pieces out of here. Make sure you don't throw away pieces that you need, like the of. And I'm going to go ahead now and put this together. So there's the thinking. Here's the of. And here's the U. Get a little more adhesive on there. Sometimes you have to just roll the tip. Okay, and there we go. And I'm going to put that one, let's see, let's do this one up like that. And there we go. And then I want to add a little bit of some embellishments. So I'm adding these rustic metallic dots. Just in some random places. There's 3 different sizes in here. So you can grab little ones or big ones. All right, and there we go. Now, the one part that I told you before that I just forgot to do here is there are little, I don't even know what these are called. When we were kids in our area, they used like these little airplane things, and we would pull them apart and stick them on our nose. I don't know. I had someone, a family came to baseball that was from New York City when one of my boys was younger, and they had never heard of doing this before and kind of thought it was strange. But I don't know. In my area, do you do that in your area? In our area, we pulled these apart and put them on our nose, and it was funny, and it was just, you know, thing you did as a kid before you had electronics. So anyway, so on the first card, I did add those in early espresso around here. The second one, I did not do that, but there you go. And that's your card for today. Hope you enjoy. Hope you got an idea or just one that you forgot about and you want to try it again. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.